Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 110 until I'm a YouTube millionaire. I'm going to read another essay that I wrote several years ago, basically upon the same trope that I have been talking about for quite some time. Remember, guys, one of my mantras is that there is virtue in repetition, as there are 8 billion human beings on this planet, and only one of you. What comes along with that is your own original theories, or semi-original, because there's nothing new under the sun. Well, let's get to this. It's not as long as the last one, but it's still pretty long. So guys, real talk here. Pretty much all we do, but just wanted to say it again. So, here's a theory, totally speculative. The world in which we are currently living is the culmination of a deeply contrived time manipulation event where our own species is attempting to manipulate our timeline in such a way as to prevent us from a severe extinction event and help us to connect with otherworldly beings, whether they be what we would call angels, extraterrestrials, same thing, or something else. That is, once we have made the case for eviction from this reality, we will be transported in a great rapture event if we have seen and truly decided that we do want this reality. I think that this fits the bill of most of us here. We have seen that we have absolutely no power to incite change on any meaningful global level, while we do not have infinite power to love one another and be there for our friends and family. Our votes do no longer matter, if they ever did at all. Our sources of information exchange, media, are completely and utterly corrupted, and while we have a deluge of truth flowing from every direction, it is so diluted with nonsense that it is almost impossible to find much of the time what is real and what's not. When I say it is a deeply contrived time manipulation scheme, what I mean is we developed time travel as a viable technology in the 1960s and have been using it ever since that point. All of our current understandings of the limitations of the technology are totally bogus. There are no real limitations, other than those of our own understanding, our own intentionally placed limitations, a la what I was talking about in my last video, or the limits of the materials. But in truth, the technology itself is completely unbounded, without bounds. If you think about it, this is distinctly possible for a variety of reasons. We wonder, why have we seen no time travelers? The world should be positively filled with them if we have a multiversal reality where everyone moves through time and space as if it's child's play. Well, it could be argued that we see time travelers all the time without knowing it. It could be discerned that in the depths of the utilization of the technology that we find the most effective use of it by being born into a certain era, rather than jumping from one era to the other through what we might understand as a wormhole. Why am I bringing this up? Well, as stated, I believe once you have access to such a technology, the horizon of wisdom drastically increases. You have 100% fidelity on the consequences of your actions, and you can see all possible paths. This is equivalent to omniscience. It is the power of God. Jesus was a time traveler. Whether you see it in this light or simply in what is discussed in the Bible, he just de facto is a time traveler, because he travels as he wants through all reality. This would mean that different times and choice space being different components to reality, he could travel there if he so decided. He is also human. To continue to discuss the point of why we don't see yet more travelers, consider this. In the entire timeline, as we might understand it, of the universe, all stars are believed to die out in approximately 100 trillion years-ish. That is, the very last, slowest burning red dwarfs will finally exhaust their remaining fuel supply in about that amount of time. This seems like an unimaginable time frame. But then look at this. The entire time span of the universe, as we might understand it, can be defined as the point from first material birth, Big Bang, to the point where the very last physical objects die out. Science currently believes that very last physical object to be a dissolving black hole. The very last dissolving black hole will die out in a Google years, 10 raised to the 100th power or so. After that, time becomes meaningless, because time needs a frame of reference. All of this to say, while the universe has been around for 13.7 billion years as we understand it, this is but a blink of the eye in terms of the total period of time in which life can thrive, 100 trillion years or so. And beyond that, it is yet even more a minuscule sliver of time compared to how long the universe will endure. And beyond that, the period of time where the universe exists is infinitely small compared to how long the universe will not exist. Infinity compared to a finite number, no matter how large that finite number, is still infinitely larger. All of this to say, we have been born as an intelligent species at very nearly the beginning of the universe's lifespan, despite the universe being 13.7 billion years old. While I'm not saying this is true, and I'm not even saying that it is likely, it is nevertheless distinctly possible that in fact we are the very first intelligent species to be born in this universe. And all the extraterrestrials we have encountered thus far have in fact all been time travelers, and that they are all operating on different planes of existence and all represent different branching paths of our timeline. And Jesus, he represents only one where we transcend time. Yet he is the principal time traveler, and the rapture, or case for eviction, is where we do so. The CIA, in the deepest areas of their administration, are all Catholics, believers in the rapture, and perhaps Jesus is at the helm. Like I said, real talk, crazy talk, but real talk. What do y'all think? Now, the CIA must be obliterated, okay? And when I say that, I don't mean that me thinking that Jesus is at the helm of this specific sect of the CIA is evil. No, he's the absolute good. Jesus is the absolute good. But the CIA has been totally overrun by demons. That's what Satan does. He tries to obfuscate, make everything gray, make it so that you can't tell what is good and what is bad. He turns right side up and upside down. That's what Satan does. But Jesus could very well be in control of this particular sect, quote-unquote sect, of the CIA, Project Pegasus, the Looking Glass, outer band individuated teletracers, time machines, and all of it, all the other stuff is garbage and needs to be obliterated. Remember, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you have Jesus, the very highest good, in such an evil institution, it necessitates it being black and white, because he is so good that the rest of the institution, in order to even hold a candle to his goodness, has to be the darkest of evil. I'm talking assassinating popes type of stuff. And I believe that the CIA has played a part in stuff like that. They be bad people. But this one particular sect, the Looking Glass, Project Pegasus, maybe not so much. Anyways, that's all I got for today, guys. Kind of a crazy one, eh? Love y'all. Peace.